So are buffets dead? Do you think they're done after this? Are there ever going to be buffets again?
Absolutely. Americans are way too fat to give up their buffets, man.
No, we are as a people. I love a buffet, but I think a restaurant would be crazy to try that with insurance and the way people could sue. It's not going to be the same. People like us aren't going to be able to go up and get our own shit anymore. They're going to have people with spoons dishing out like lunch ladies at cafeterias, and they're going to have to hire so many more people.
Maybe they'll just bring the sneeze guard down farther, so you only have like a room like this to kind of, you know.
Or like when they show the movies in prison, the hole where they feed them through the hole, they just have that whole thing and they just slide it through to you. I'd like roast beef, please, and they slide it through. It's like
I guarantee you we are way too fat and dependent on buffets as a society for them to go away.
I want to know, and it's going to happen soon, when will buffets figure out how to deliver? How will they do it by the pound? How will they – you choose online like how many helpings you want. Like I know it'll go up 4 times. You have to pay for going up now, so it's not all you can pay. But it'll be cheaper, like $5.95 for 1 round, but add $2. Add $2 each time you want to go up. I'd pay it.
I bet you there's some place in like China or Japan that has FaceTime shopping where you can actually go with, you know, some like Grubhub kind of guy, but you can actually go through the buffet. Maybe I just came up with an idea. You can go through the buffet. Oh, I want 2 scoops of that, please. And 1 scoop of that. Yeah.
Instead of pea pod, it's feed pod. And you just hit the buttons and they go through and they just, I would do that job too. I would select the food for people. It's like, he seems like a good dude. I'll get him the nice fatty part of the steak a little bit. You need a little grizzle on there. That guy enjoys it. So I really think buffets are going to be gone. I think people are going to be too afraid.
I don't know, man.
I know we're fat, but we're
maybe in this part of the country, but the Midwest, they're already like, fuck this whole thing. You know, like they're not going to give up their buffets. Maybe big cities like New York, the responsible ones, but no. You go to Ozark, Alabama, or Birmingham, Alabama, you're going to go to your all-you-can-eat barbecue buffet, you know?
I love that the middle of this country right now is protesting in front of people's houses. Let us do what we want. I want to do stuff. This is stupid. Why are you trying to make me alive? Cut it out.
I know.
Like, do you really think the government doesn't want your money? This sucks for them, too. They want you making stupid decisions with your cash that you need. They don't want you in homes making smart moves.
Right. They don't want to have to pay to take care of us. They don't. That's not how it's supposed to work. We are supposed to be the cogs in the wheel that are just blindly leading our lives and working for the machine, you know?
Like they literally just gave you the weed dispensaries you wanted. Like they were trying to help you. They were letting you go buy your weed. They don't want you stuck back inside going to see your dealer now because you can't go there because your weed dispensary doesn't have a 6-foot rule because it's too small. It's in a hut. They can't do that.
But how quickly we went from don't do drugs are bad to weed is essential. You know, like that was a very quick transition there. Like I don't even know if I don't think I even saw it happen. When did that become, oh no, we got to keep the weed stores open. Like I'm all for that. Don't get me wrong. But
I really think it came from there was some politician who was voting against all the time, and then his son, who was a pothead, but also a responsible one, and in college was like, Dad, I don't think you realize how much money kids spend on this. And he's like, and their parents buy it, and other people buy it. Like, do you understand if they put that money right in? And he's like, wait, I'm listening. And then finally he goes, I think we need to sell weed. I think that's what we have to do.
Yep.
And it's like the government was the desperate person. What do you do when you're desperate? You lose your job. 20 years ago, you lost your job. You had to sell your car. What? I can't make money. I'll sell drugs. Fuck yeah, I'll sell drugs.
No,
it's the only thing we can do. That's what the government started doing. Just start selling. I'll sell weed. We'll make it fun. It'll be okay. Grandma's can have it now. It's fine. And people just
fine.
Whenever there's a problem, we will backtrack and spin 180 all the time. We remember a couple months ago, we cared so much about the environment. Fuck plastic bags. Plastic bags are murderers. Now go to Target. They won't even let you don't bring your COVID-filled shit bag here. Here's that plastic bag we supposedly got rid of. We have tons in the back. We were waiting for this shit. Fuck turtles.
Yeah.
Fuck turtles.
Yeah.
Real people are dying now. No one cares about turtles when real people are dying.
That's true. I made the mistake of going to the grocery store and I asked for a brown paper bag, and they kind of looked at me all weird. And I turn around like, oh, they're just handing out plastic bags like it's fucking Christmas again.
I had my backpack. I have been bringing it because we had to. And they're like, we don't trust it. I'm like, well, I don't trust yours. You didn't have this supposedly. Where'd this come from? And they're like, well, we trust it. I'm like, I don't care what you I got to bring your COVID bag from the back home. And I'm like, they're like, sir, just, I'm like, all right, I'll take it. But what the fuck? My bag was fine when you guys didn't want to give me a bag. And I had to start being a hermit crab and carry my own shit home like a pack mule. But now all of a sudden, because we're dying from Chinese bat chomping, I got to bring my own, I can't bring my own bag anymore.
You know, not to backtrack, man, but now that we've been talking about buffets, I'm really angry that I can't go to a buffet right now.
Yeah. The more you think, see, I knew the stance you were beginning to make was going to start going. Because think about it, you're thinking as two people that would love a buffet. But they will stop us from that. Because the gathering is too crazy. It's the only place where everyone, like better than, it's the only melting pot left. Every race is there. If they're not rich, we're poor, but we're together and we're all enjoying all the foods of the world. They don't want us getting together and plotting and scheming. That's where we plot and scheme, over mac and cheese next to an apple pie, next to a Rangoon. That's what you need on your plate. I want that choice. Give me that choice. I can't order that. I've never. If you gave me a list of stuff and said, order the 10 things you want to eat, I would automatically group them to make sense. But if you give me a buffet and just a hope and a dream, it will make no sense, but it will be a magical journey that I will enjoy forever.
Ironically, the first buffets that are going to open up are going to be the China buffets.
If they're bad, I miss Chinese food. My favorite place down the street, they were the first ones to shut down. Another thing too, let's all get everyone scared of Chinese food, and then the second they all close, let's tell everyone to support local businesses delivering food. But the best people at it are the Chinese. We took away your Michael Jordans. Now we're just having the bench deliver shit. I don't need that. I don't need to know that place I used to drink at and get wings can also deliver a grilled cheese. I don't need to know that. I'm not supporting them. Give me my Rangoons. Give me my fried wings I got from China Sea down the street. Why is he out of business? He didn't do it.
Well,
he never served that.
Honestly, I think it's because they can't get their product from New York, because so many Chinese places around here, you always see those delivery trucks coming up from Chinatown or wherever they're getting their food from, down in Brooklyn, the Bronx, and New York, and no one's moving product from there right now. So
because the drivers are Chinese. Hire Mormons. No, everyone trusts them. I have a friend who's Mormon. He's been driving the country, and no one gives a shit. He's driving around New Mexico right now. He's just driving from Connecticut to Mexico, back and forth. No one's stopping him because he's white and Mormon, wearing a white shirt. Hire Mormons to deliver your food, and we'll get it from the. They'll trust you.
You know what I used to do when I was traveling the country doing shows? I would put a Bible in the top left-hand corner on the dashboard of my car, just in case. You don't want to drive through Arkansas or especially West Virginia, man. You know, and I never had to use the Bible trick, but it was there just in case I had to, you know.
Yeah, in case you had to hit a vampire with it, you know. That old movie.
No, I always pictured getting pulled over and the cop coming up and be like, "Hey, do you know how?" Oh, I see you got your Bible there, and I have enough Catholic school upbringing to be able to pretty much back up anything that he wants to talk about, you know.
Sir, a registration? This is the only registration I need, sir. The Lord. I'm registered with the Lord.
And they will leave you alone after that.
Who else is in the car with you? Oh, just me, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, and we're all just traveling. It's okay, sir.
Well, you can't ride in the HOV lane, sir. Oh, sorry.
Just try to not speed, okay? It's like, all right. When I'm on the highway to heaven, I can't help it. I'm sorry. I'm like a young Michael Landon trying to live my dream. Just let me scoot off in here.
So it kind of sounds like you haven't been faring very well lately. Things have been getting to you a little bit.
No, I'm actually happy. I've actually been happy because I I'm over this quarantine thing that I'd rather joke about things that aren't it. You know what I mean? Like I miss buffet. I would love to go to a buffet. That was my happy place. Like once a year, even when I was losing weight, I could control what I ate there. I just think you can learn so much about human beings. Go ahead.
We've been in quarantine so long that it's now hack material.
Yeah,
I can't do the same material I was doing a month ago. Like It's all fresh. It's got to be new, fresh material.
Yeah, I had a buddy of mine does animation, and he's animated a couple of my stand-up things. And he asked me, he said, "Hey, I want to put out some people writing Corona jokes, and they record it like through Audacity or whatever. Send it to him, and he'll animate it." And so I tried to write 3 minutes of Corona material and do it through the mic like I am right now. And that was such a weird disconnect because no audience. And it's not like I got to work on the jokes. I just wrote them once and did them. And he's still working on it. But I thought I wrote 3 minutes. It was literally with no pauses. I tried to pause like 2 minutes, 10 seconds. And it was like 6 jokes. And it was just me trying. I'm like, I knew right away, once this is over, I'm not telling one fucking joke. I'm pretending like it didn't happen.
Yeah, you almost have to right now because it's all hack. It's done. It's passe,
The best thing would be that really hack comic who the day it's over, the first day we're allowed out goes, "So I was at the bar yesterday." It's like, you fucking hack. you couldn't go to the bar for 2 years, you fuck.
Yeah, all of your old material that you used to set in the in the present tense, that's all gone. That's all done.
Oh, I know so
yesterday. Yesterday I was flying. Oh no, I wasn't doing that.
No. I know so many comics who do jokes about someone coughing without covering their mouths, and now it would be a terrorist attack. You can't talk about that on stage now. Coughing is yelling fire at a theater now. You can't do that. You're going to jail. It's all over for you.
And I know, it's like
go ahead.
It was the last time shit was shut down in New York like this that I can remember was 9/11. Remember when like a lot of
I'll never forget. Hey-o.
Right, yeah, of course.
Did you just forget 9/11? Did you forget 9/11?
No, never forget.
I forgot the milk. Forget. I forgot the bread. I forgot the 9/11. I didn't look at my list. I'm sorry.
But my point being is that I forgot my point.
Nice. Well, you forgot 9/11. You forgot your point. It's like you said, remember 9/11, and then I ruined it.
No, I think that a lot of the I don't remember what I was saying, man. Something about plays down in New York City. You got me off track.
Yeah, it's my fault.
With your incessant rambling.
That's what I do. Finally, I'm on the air, and you can't tell me to edit it down. Yeah.
Yeah. It can be as long as you fucking want. And thank you for having me on the POS podcast, right?
No, this is the POP. The POS is the thing that might be on Compound if this ever ends.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
They're all different things I can do with my name. This is the one. Actually, today, I mean, people will hear this in different breaks, but I'm recording 3 episodes in a row today, and you're the sandwich. You're the middle. You're the meat. So I figured I have a buddy, Steve Nagel, who is the producer and one of the personalities on Baxter and O'Brien, which is Chaz and AJ, but Western Mass. You know what I mean? That's their thing up there. And Steve's a comic, too, and I've known him for years. And I was talking to him about how they're dealing with it. He's still going into the studio, but they had a smaller studio, and he was always in there with them. They finally put a mic in his producer room so he can be like AJ now and be in the monkey cage and separate him from one of them. And then the other guy, O'Brien, has been sick and has been battling cancer, so he's at home with it. They set up a studio for him. So they're trying to do it that way now. And they're starting to do more tracking. They don't track as much as we do at our place, but they were doing some, but now they're doing a lot more. So we're talking about that and how he's dealing with that. But he's happy to be home now because he's a widower and he's got 2 little kids and he gets to be around them more. So it's kind of a good thing this is going on, so.
Yeah. No, I've saved a lot of money on gas. That's for damn sure.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. And, and probably food delivery. Because I know whenever we would be at the radio station, I would smell this wonderful Burger King wafting by me, and it would just be you. I'm like, does he have an awesome Yankee Candle? I'm like, nope, that dude's got some Burger King.
Yeah, it was delivered for me by a female fan of the show. Ooh. She comes every Saturday and brings me Burger King.
Ooh, instead of a sugar mama, she's a burger mama. I want a burger
Yeah.
mama. I like that. Burger mama.
With the diabetes, I prefer the Burger Mama.
Yeah. You could call her Wendy Whoppers, and it doesn't mean tits now. It's like she's actually just bringing Whoppers. It's nice.
Right.
But not Wendy's, because then they'd be sued. All right, sorry, I ruined everything. But yeah, and then after you, I have Gino Bisconti on, who is a comedian, and also he's one of the co-hosts of In Hot Water, which is on Compound Media. So, and then I'm doing another one tomorrow as well. And then last night I recorded. During the quarantine, I come up with a new idea for a TV show on Twitter as a joke, and people really liked the idea. So now I'm actually writing it on podcasts instead of writing it down with other people and trying to make this thing happen, a show that will never happen. And
so what is it?
It's about a guy who was retarded, and he wakes up one day and he's not retarded anymore. And it's called Not So Special Now. And I think the title is brilliant. And it's got to be very dark, like Always Sunny. He wakes up. He still has all the knowledge and everything. He only knows what he learned when he was retarded. And he's a guy, a caregiver has been ripping him off the whole time. And the caregiver finds out that there's something wrong with him. He tries to convince him to keep acting retarded so he doesn't lose all the sweet benefits he's been stealing from him. So it's this back and forth thing. So this now guy who was retarded and isn't has to pretend he is, or thinks he'll get in trouble because he's not smart enough to outdupe the dumb guy who isn't retarded. So.
Well, let me just say, when you pitch this to someone that's probably going to be a very liberal person from Hollywood or New York or whatever, I would stay away from the word retarded.
Nope, we are written in it. We are pro-retarded. We are for retards, by retards. We're gonna hire a lot of retards. We're gonna have so many real ones. We're not gonna let actors come in and cultural appropriate. We're gonna get real, organic, free-range retards to be on the show the entire time and be part of it. We're gonna have
you can't Gilbert Grape this thing.
Not at all. We're gonna have 100% pure grade A retard. They're gonna be in there. We're gonna have a retarded wedding because they've had all the gay weddings. We're going maybe gay retard wedding too, and we'll step it up. But
you gotta find the new Corky.
No, see, the Corky will be that's the thing he doesn't want. Corky he finds out later. He's been called that his whole life, but doesn't know why. When he starts learning how to Google, he learns a lot of shit. Yesterday, me and my buddy Brandon Smith, who's a DJ and he does some comedy, and he used to be the co-host on my podcast, and he also now does the conspiracy thing. He got so into the idea that now on the Patreon, we're working out, like yesterday on the Patreon for an hour, we worked out the whole skeleton of the first episode. And when we're done with that, we're going to write it down, and then we're going to have people on through Zoom and do table reads. Because I got the idea from, watching a couple weeks ago, like Modern Family and Schitt's Creek both went off the air. I wasn't a guy who watched those, but people were talking about that, and I happened to notice it was the series finale, and they showed documentaries they made about the making of the last episode and how all the actors look back to they never thought this thing would become that. And I was like, would it be funny if they did one on a show that never got picked up, but they were so ballsy that they thought the show was going to be so good they made a documentary about how great it already was? And wouldn't it be funny if it was about a guy who was retarded and then turned out to not be retarded? So I put that on Twitter, and everyone's like, this is the show we need right now. This is the perfect time because people are still getting offended, but no one's backing people up for being offended right now because they're all worried. Like, if you say retarded on Twitter, people used to yell, how dare you? So one person will write, how dare you? And then nobody will jump in because they're like, I don't want COVID. I want Chinese food. I'm sad. I don't care. So right now is the perfect time to do this.
So you're going to try to bring back non-political correctness into comedy?
Yes, but through TV, and I think if we're showing that this he's a good person, and I've been talking with every guest I have a little bit about this show, and the next time the Mormon guy Rodney Norman is a hilarious comic. He said in season 2 we should have a girl who identifies as retarded. She was one time placed in a class by accident, and for 3 weeks she was in a class with all special needs people, and she loved it and she flourished. So when they realized she was wrong and not in there, she's like, how dare you identify as retarded? When she finds out when this guy announces finally at the end that the world that he used to be retarded and he's not, she calls bullshit on it and says she knows because she identifies as retarded and says he's a fraud the entire time. And now a guy who was retarded and now isn't thinks maybe I was never retarded at all because he doesn't know because he's retarded. So it works. There's so much to write about it. We broke down the first episode yesterday, and it's going to be so easy to write. It's the jokes write themselves, but we have to make sure that the guy, the caretaker, looks like the dickhead, and we're not making fun of the retarded guy. That's the humor will come out of the scumbags trying to take advantage of him, not the fact that he was retarded.
So my big question about this whole thing is, how does he become not retarded?
That's the mystery and all. He goes to sleep. When we have down, we're not going to reveal it yet. But when he goes to sleep after singing his lullaby song, he sings with his uncle. His uncle, by the way, got.
You've really gotten into this really deep, huh?
We already have. Last night we recorded one full podcast on it.
There's a whole backstory and multiple characters.
No, there's a whole canon. His name.
You hired a musician to write out the lullaby.
We started writing it yesterday. The main character's name is Gerald Spazzini, and they call him Spaz for short, which works out good. And he never knew that meant retarded, and he was fine. The guy ripping him off is a Native American, but so his name is Maurice, but his full name is Geronimo Maurice. And so he's the guy that's been ripping him off the entire time. His uncle's name is Uncle Jones, and that's because even though he is his uncle, that's not why I call him that. His actual first name is Uncle because his parents looked at him and said, "What do you think he's going to be when he grows up?" He's like, "An uncle at most. That's all he's going to make. What most he can do is hope that his other siblings have kids. This guy's going to amount to shit." So he's watching, and the reason why the uncle has to watch him, he's like in his 30s, is because his parents died on 9/11. Not because of 9/11. It just happened to be 9/11. And they died in Iowa. A tractor hit them. Some people say it didn't happen. Some people say it's a conspiracy. And there's 9/11 deniers of it. And they think that he left. They left because they couldn't handle raising the retarded son anymore. So they left him to this guy because the father found out that this guy had an affair with his wife a year earlier. So to get revenge on him, he left him. Oh, yeah. Dude, I'm telling you, we are so...
Wow, you
don't give me
bored.
Don't give me quarantine time. We have that show. Another buddy of mine, Dave Hintz, we're working on a movie called Pork Chops. It's about a little fat kid who learns karate, and him and another fat guy because they're the pork chops because he gets bullied, and he learns it from a guy who doesn't know karate, but he looks like he knows how to fight because he actually wanted to be in a boy band when he was younger, but now when he's older, he wants to be in a man band, but he has all these sweet dance moves that look like karate, so he teaches fat kids how to fight, and in return, the little kid helps him get a man band together, and then they battle against other people in a kidmate, which is a kid's karate kumite. That we're working on that one as well. And another one I'm starting to work on now is the story of the auctioneer of slaves and how he learned how to do all the cool cadences and he became friends with the slaves and he'd have to learn all their cool credits. Like, this one's from the Amistad, put your hands together for Mandingo and stuff like that. So we're working on a lot of different things.
The slave auctioneer sounds more like a one-off skit to me. I wouldn't watch the karate one, but definitely the retard that's not a retard anymore. That's right up my alley.
See, here's the thing. That's what I'm thinking. But that's why. But so if you watched all the retard show, you watched the first season, and then you heard from the makers of Not So Special Now, Pork Chops, you'd give it a chance because you're like, okay, I know his sense of humor. It's not going to be just fat kids doing karate. It's going to go way darker than what this, and it is going to go darker than that.
So I have a question. How are you going to use a real retarded person that gets non-retarded? You're going to have to find an actor to play retarded, then becomes not retarded.
And we have the perfect solution. My friend Rodney has a good buddy who I met when I first started doing comedy 12 years ago. His name's Todd Johnson. He's from Idaho. He's a comic. If you look him up, Todd Johnson, comedian, he has a joke in his act. He looks like, when he puts his hat backwards and it goes like this, he does look like he has Down syndrome. It's a joke he has. And it's just he actually really doesn't even have to turn the hat. And he just looks like he has Down syndrome. But he isn't retarded. But he would look like it so much. And he's actually already said he's considering being on board, that he would be perfect because he looks like it. And he would just be himself. He wouldn't have to pretend to do anything. We don't want him to do he's only going to be retarded for like 10 minutes in the thing, and we're not going to have him talk much. So he doesn't have to do the hard voice or whatever. the first episode is just going to be seeing the day of his regular life for the first 15 minutes. And then when the transition happens at night and he wakes up, he'll just wake up like that. And then they'll do, we're actually writing it so it's like the same day all over again because that's the same routine.
You're going to have flashbacks, though. You're going to have to have flashbacks that go back to the retarded things that he used to do.
No, we will. But we actually, in the first episode that we've written, we're working on dialogue now. You're seeing most of the day, and you're seeing him being retarded and what he does and seeing how this guy rips him off with everything. Like, so, like, it takes advantage of him and does all this shit. Like, he actually gets money from the uncle to get him medication, but doesn't spend it because he spends it on McDonald's. And he doesn't let the guy have McDonald's. He's like, I want McDonald's. He's like, nope. And he spends it, and he brings it to his boy, and his boy gives him weed for the McDonald's, and him and his boy smoke weed and blow it in this guy's face instead of giving him medication to calm him down. And when he's retarded, he doesn't know what's going on. But the next day when they bring him there, he actually makes an order from the back. He goes, I'll take a quarter-pounder meal with a Coke. And the guy turns like, whoa, this guy's never spoken before. He doesn't know where that's coming from. Then he brings him to the weed guy, and the weed guy's like, yo, I've smoked myself retarded. This guy smoked himself not retarded. And he goes, this must be good shit. And the seed that we're going to plant to make this work is that at one point the first day when he is retarded, the uncle goes into the other room. And when he does, the Geronimo Reese guy knocks down a vase and then blames the retarded guy. And the uncle says, you know the rules. When something is broken, you don't get to have dessert. You don't get to have your TV time. He likes to watch Jeopardy, and you're in trouble. So then the Geronimo Reese guy takes his dessert because he's an asshole and eats it and leaves. So when the Geronimo Reese guy notices the change, he's like, something's up. He grabs him and goes, hey, man, I think you're broken. And you know what your uncle's going to do if you're broken. So you can't do that. You have to pretend you're the old way. So he convinces the guy to pretend to be retarded so he can keep ripping him off and taking his benefits. So that's where that's why he can't reveal. So the whole show is going to be this guy now pretending he's retarded so he doesn't lose his job. He has a retarded girlfriend and he's not retarded anymore. So that's real weird for him. And someone goes, who's going to play the girlfriend? I'm like, an ice cream cone. That's what he loves. But it's like, I think we'll have to get a person. But believe me, if you name it, we've got it covered for the first couple of episodes. And I've watched worse ideas on TV.
Oh, dude, it sounds like a hit. I think it's the caveat that I would throw in that I was thinking was that, you know how like every like retarded person has a superpower?
Yes.
You know, like, but now like the superpower that he used to have, he doesn't have that like he's not good at playing piano anymore, but he's expected to, you know.
My buddy Brandon said like he loses his strength and he has to find it. Now Brandon wants to have aliens do this, and I'm like, that's too jumping the shark. But I've always had a theory that retarded people are really just aliens here anyway, and they're in disguise, and the government knows, and that's why we give them special parking in the Olympics, and we know the tops of their heads are soft, so we give them helmets, and they're here to help us, and they have the powers to stop things if they come here. I believe that's true, but
you might want to keep that under your hat.
Under my helmet.
Under your head.
Oh, you're right. I should keep that under my hat. Not this entire show I just wrote and put together.
Well, I don't know. Coming out publicly and saying that mentally handicapped people are aliens might that's flat earther shit right there.
Well, I used to have a whole bit, and believe me, it got shut down by most places, saying that I wish I was retarded. And I think that it was a good message, but some people got it and some didn't. But I was saying, I think it's messed up that we even say that term and say that there's something wrong with them. They don't have anxiety, depression, stress. We do. We're the defect. We're the fucked up one. I wish I was retarded. I wish I didn't have to care about any of those things. I could just wake up, pull sweatpants to my nipples, lick a window, and say, good day. Like, I would love that. That'd be fantastic. That would be an amazing moment. I would love that day all day. But you can't do that. And that word retarded actually comes from, it's French. You've been to Subway, right? You know, like that thing that holds the bread that's rising in the back. You always see that, like the shelving. That's called a retarder. That's the real name of it. And it means not ready yet, the bread. So whoever first started calling them that was calling them not ready yet people, which is super fucked up. So fuck the French. It's the French's fault that they did it. Yeah, don't mess with me with retard trivia. I win.
I think it's I think it's a winning concept. Definitely come up with a treatment for it.
Oh, we already are. And actually, every week we're going to be doing that on the page. People can watch. Because if we sit there and write it, being the guys I know, we won't do it. We'll start doing it. We're like, fuck, I don't want to write it. But if we're working it out like this and then writing it off of I can just listen to the podcast and jot down what I said. And then we do Zoom readings. We'll have fun with it. Listen, at the end of this quarantine, yeah, of course this show will never get picked up, but it would be hilarious to say to someone, go back and watch my Patreon for 2 months, and you can watch this whole show develop, and you never know. But like at worst case, we make one episode on YouTube as a joke and try to put it out there. But there's been worse ideas.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Can you tell I miss comedy? Can you tell I want to go on stage? It's been my last time performing was March 14th. That was the last time I was on stage. And I've never gone this long in 12 years.
That's rough, man. When I stopped doing performing full time, I went from performing I did it for 15 years full tilt, and then stopped just as quickly. Because if you don't push yourself, it's not like people are calling you. You know what I mean? If you're not always pushing yourself and getting out there and doing it, it's not like people, unless you get to that level. You know what I mean? Once you get to that level where, you know, shit's coming in. But I was never at that level. I always had to hustle, you know?
Right. If you're at that level, you actually, someone's found you and they're pushing you now too. You have representation at that point. But if you don't, yeah,
Right.
You're exactly right. If you're not telling people you exist, if you're not pushing it all the time, you could just fall aside. Not because you're not any good, just because there's a million people.
Right. And it was very hard for me not to be on, you know what? And it wasn't just being on stage. It was the whole thing behind it. It was the travel to the gig and that anticipation of before it happens, you know, before, like, not really, it's not a nervous energy, but you're just excited, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
What is this audience going to bring me? And then I always work with a duo. I always work with another dude. So we would have our conversations just like this about, oh, yo, you said that, and next time I should, you know, come in with this. It was always like a writing session for hours because you're still fucking high off the adrenaline that you got from the stage, you know?
Yeah, I didn't do that often, but there was a time where a buddy of mine, Brian Bowden, who's a hilarious comic out of Rhode Island, we would do a thing together called PB&Js. It was Pat, Brian, and Joints. We'd get a little bit high, and then I would do my act, he would do his act, and then we'd join each other on stage and basically just improv. But we'd have, like, music in the back. We did, like, holiday specials. We'd, like, sing, like, songs from, like, Burl Ives Christmas songs. Holly Jolly Christmas. And then, like, pause it. We say, stop, DJ, and then he would tell some crazy story. I would do insane crowd work and then go kick it and just keep singing the Christmas song. And then we would play off each other. And then after the shows, we would say, oh, remember when you said that? Let's add this. Remember this, that. And we would play off each other in that way. And it was a lot of fun. I usually couldn't do that. I know I couldn't do improv or stuff, but with someone like him that I knew well, I could do it because I trusted that he'd allow me to get my jokes in. But I'm too selfish. So
it looks like you have it looks like you're a genie. It looks like you have an earring on the right. Whatever the thing is in the back, makes it look like you have an earring hanging off your.
I wonder what that is.
Sorry.
Oh no,
sorry.
There's a finger.
It's a hand. Okay. All right. I got you.
Someone made a cartoon of me doing crowd work, and I stole that part and put it in my logo.
It's beautiful. Free.
Oh, free is the greatest thing of all times. Radio, so you're doing it every day. I haven't been on the radio since the week before that. I was longer than March 14th. That was probably March 7th or 8th was the last time I was on the radio. And I was supposed to come in on the 15th on the Sunday, and that's when they're like, nah, no dice. And I haven't been on since. And that was the week we recorded all those videos for the Fox where I'm in every video. And they're like, I was like, so can we share them? They're like, no, not till this is over. I'm like, oh, they're never sharing them. We just shot videos for no reason.
That's done.
The Fox is done. They're going to end up just, why would they change this? They're getting the best ratings ever having Chaz and AJ on. They're not going to change this.
They tried that once before, though, and it failed miserably.
But nobody was dying of Chinese chopping flu, so it's okay. Now
That's
it's different.
True, but I think when people are not dying of Chinese bat soup flu, they're not going to I don't know. I could be totally wrong. It's a great show, so maybe, but there was a reason why it didn't work before, and I don't see how, right now is the perfect time to do it, but after this all dies down, we'll see. You know what I mean? Who knows? But if so, they just they have a contract with Charlie. You know what I mean? So they can't just.
Yeah, but he's on 10. He's on 10 to 2.
Yeah, that's true.
He just moved his slot. He's still getting hours. He's still getting paid. He's cutting.
Yeah.
And then they moved Keith. It was the guy from ICC, but now it's Keith in the afternoon. So they're taking care of them both ways. The only people not doing their slots that are getting paid got moved around anyway. So they're all compensated. If they can get the ratings out of it, great. Fuck, no one listens to the Fox. I love being on the Fox. They could literally do Chaz and AJ in the morning on PLR and take that same thing and play it in the afternoons. They could put Charlie in the morning and they could play Chaz and AJ. They just take that from that morning and put it on from after him. They could put it on in the midday, and people would listen to it differently. It would be taped, but they would still listen.
Didn't Opie and Anthony used to do that? They used to do it in the morning, and then Rod and Fez would come on, and then they replay it in the afternoon.
Yeah, and then when Sirius started, Howard Stern did that the whole day. Like, you just kept playing. You could listen to Howard Stern once it was on over and over and over again after the show. I mean, I don't think they'll do it. I think that eventually, there are people who want to hear music again, and I think people will want to hear that music. And maybe they're playing. I have not listened to Fox once since I'm not gonna lie, I have not turned it on. I've been retweeting their stuff and being supportive, but I'm not listening to the radio. But I didn't listen to it before.
They had me on Fox for one Sunday. Did
you play music?
Oh yeah. It was a regular. It was like a regular weekend on the Fox.
Oh, nice. And you did it from home or did it there?
Yeah. No, I haven't been in the office I haven't been in the station for 3 weeks now.
Nice. Yeah, and all the emails are like, "Don't come in." Like, who's trying to come in? Who's that too? Who's that one guy every day? He's like, "Let me in."
There's got to be somebody, because they don't send out emails without there's got to be some sort of action for them to send out a reaction email.
Oh, you know who it is? You know that fucking old guy who doesn't leave us alone in the mornings and the weekends? Like, he doesn't have email or anything, so they probably couldn't get a hold of him. He has no idea there's a pandemic, so he's just walking in like, when am I doing my shift about gardening? I got to talk about the garden. All right, Ryan wants to hear my stories.
And if there was anyone that should be staying at home, it would be that guy.
Yeah, because he's older than Betty White. Like, that guy should be dead. And he would just – this guy he's a sweetheart, too. And I'm not, like, hiding his name. I don't know his fucking name. Like, he would just come in and go, Pat. And I'm like, Guy. And he would just come in, and you're trying to go on the air. And you're literally putting your headphones on, like, I got to go on the air. He's like, and another thing, the Yankees were better in 53. I'm like, all right, yeah, they were fucking great. I was -20. I don't fucking know. And then he'll walk away, and he'll go to you, and you're like, I'm on the air. And he's like, remember that time when Truman was the president? Like, no one fucking remembers this. And then he walks down, and he bothers Danielle, and he bothers other people. And it's like, when are you on the air? He's like, I got off the air at 8 a.m. I'm like, it's 2:30. Go to fuck home.
Every Saturday.
And then Sundays. I came in on a Sunday once, and I'm like, are you still here from Saturday? He's like, no. He's like, no, I do it the whole weekend. I'm like, holy shit, why? What does he do? He talks about gardening?
The funny thing is, I think you are 100% correct.
Yeah, because he always talks about, he always says, like, I'm here, my garden guy isn't here. And I thought that meant, like, he had a Mexican that drove him or something. And I was like, that's not his code for it.
So it's not his show. He's the producer of the garden show.
Oh, I thought he was the host.
No, he's the producer. The garden show has a producer. How about that?
But he doesn't even know how to hit the buttons. How is he producing? He asked me what to do. I'm like, I'm the worst guy here.
No, that's true.
Me? Yeah. When it comes to technical shit, I don't know that. I'm shocked I'm pulling this off.
You know who I was feeling bad for the other day? Brooke.
Why is that?
Because she literally came in. Like, at least you've had some time.
Yeah, I was there since August. I had some.
Like, you've had some time. She came in and trained, and then never, like, basically never got on air because everything got all fucked up right when she was supposed to be starting Sundays, right?
Well, she was going to be doing. They didn't say when. It was the three of us, me, her, and Christian, like rotating the weekend. But so for the beginning part, it seemed like I had every Saturday, and the two of them were rotating. I don't know what the plan was for anybody there. I think they were just hiring people and just seeing who stuck. I don't think there was any plans for any of us. I don't think we were going to be going anywhere. I mean, I wasn't going to be moving. No, who was leaving? I mean, I think they were just hiring as many people as they could, and if someone did leave, they could fill a spot. You know?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think
But
she was hired in case they need a girl in the morning. Every morning show likes to have a girl do the weather or something like that. I'm not trying to be jerk, but like it's smart. They have a bunch of those like that. They learn it. So I think they're hiring her to say, hey, if Ashley leaves or this person leaves or Stephanie leaves, something like that, she could pop in and do that.
Yep. But she got into the door and then poof, and she'll be the first one to be forgotten because it's going to probably take a long time to cycle around again. You know what I mean? For all the part-timers to come back and for because it really has to do with the budget, you know?
Yeah. She's going to have to be louder. The one thing I can do is make sure I'm not forgettable. Like I will retweet. I will message things so that like they would look crazy. Like I had people, and I wasn't on me. I had not that I have any following at all being on Saturdays, but a couple of the people that will listen to me from Compound live in Fairfield County, and they would listen on Saturdays just to hear me on there. In the first couple of weeks, they're like, we don't want to hear this stupid. I don't want to hear somebody tell me about straws and turtles. I want to fucking hear music. And I want to hear Pat Oates introduce songs. What the fuck? So like people are at least not saying stuff. But yeah, I mean, I do miss it. It was fun on Saturdays to do that. I would love to do that again. But I think radio is going to be, we're all going to be in people's homes. There'll be no more studios. We're just going to be in people's houses now. That's it. You're going to be a whole studio in your attic. Everyone's going to go to the attic now. That's where they perform.
I think that would have been true if they just didn't spend a whole shit ton of money on boards and, you know what I mean? Like they're basically, I bet those boards are $7,000 a piece, and they just got like 8 of them or some shit like that. Plus, the thing that's keeping them from doing it at home to begin with is that there's no consistency of sound. So Lappy's in his living room. He's got like sort of, you could hear the echo in my room. You know what I mean? Yeah. I put a lot of effects, like I put a lot of compression and whatnot on my voice. He doesn't. But when you go to the studio, it's all done for you.
Right.
All of the microphones, everything sounds the same. So no matter what station you're on or what studio you're using, there's a consistency of sound, and that will never be able to happen in home studios. You know?
But see, now with the new direction of everything's got to sound like a podcast, man. They're going to come in and go, that's what we want. We want that funky, dirty sound. We want it to sound like you're in your backyard. And then we'll take all those boards. What we'll do is we'll open our own Connecticut School of Broadcasting, and we'll train people how to do it here, and we'll charge them the amount of money each board costs, and the morons will pay it. They'll come here and train, and then we'll send them home with a board because they bought it, and they can go bring it home, and then they can work for us from home, and then we'll just pay them by hours as they clock in on their fucking computers. I just saved Keith $1 billion. You're welcome.
Yeah, it may happen.
I do think that at the end of the day, though, I think one thing like radio, people have that, there's that awesome, like, nostalgic feeling of knowing that someone's in a studio alone. When you're listening, you like that thought of somebody just being there. I hate revealing it to people when people are like, I've mentioned you. I said I was going to be on your show when it was on the Facebook Live thing. And someone's like, oh, I love when he was on late night. It was cool that he would go in at midnight. And I'm like, I don't want to tell you any secrets, but he ain't there.
Oh, yeah, dude, I keep it. I pretend I'm letting out the secrets now, but it's not like I'm a big draw for anyone's show. So you out of the 3 people that you have on, I've only heard of one of them, and that's me.
Nice.
So, so I'm not going to be your big draw for your podcast, and I apologize.
I don't want any draw. I want people that listen to me know I like to only have people on that I have fun with. There's not about draws, but having fun.
But I never tell people that I'm not in the studio. I always pretend that I'm working every single night from 8 to midnight, and because it opens up a lot more room for things to say and comedy. You know what I mean? Like you're doing an 11 o'clock thing and, you know, I'm already sitting at home. That's, you know, like, I guess that could be kind of funny, but, you know, like.
Right. But you do some of the stuff on when you do the live show from your house. Did you stop doing that now that you're back on?
Oh, no, you mean like phone calls and stuff, or?
No, like the show I was on with you. You're in the attic show.
Oh yeah, and I didn't do it last week, but I'm gonna start it up again just because I can do it.
But you do it at 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah, 8 o'clock at night. Yeah.
So people that listen, I mean, you don't have to say anything. People are like, "How are you on the air and also on this show?" I mean, if they don't get, do they really think you're like, "Here's a commercial break," and then you're just yelling out all this other stuff?
Honestly, you know what? Most people don't even think that deep. They don't care enough about me to think about it that deeply. You know what I mean? They don't. I don't think no one has ever called me out on it. Let's just put it that way. That no one has ever said, "Hey, how come you're on the radio and on the YouTube at the same time?" Not one person. So
I guess I have something to start now. 8 o'clock. I'll be writing right away. Wait a minute. What's happening here? Are you a wizard? Do you have doppelgangers? Are you time traveling? How is this happening?
One of the things that I used to do the show from the studio at the station before it got canceled, and I would go on I would track my whole entire show from 8 to midnight and then go live for sometimes 3 hours. I'd be live for 3 hours and no one ever questioned it.
Yeah, well, I'm questioning it. I think it's unquestionable. I'm offended. I'm pissed off, actually. How dare you? People are going to learn one day that there's trickery. Next thing they're going to think is that you're not there with the bands playing in the studio when you play the music. They think Van Halen's not there with you. They're going to think
there is a lot. I mean, you're right though, man. There is a lot of radio trickery. Before I got into radio, and when I finally did get into radio, a lot of it was like, oh no way.
Yeah.
I did not think that's how you did this. It's almost like going to a magic class, you know, and learning magic tricks from a magician, and then being really disappointed that you did because it took away the mystery, you know?
I had no idea that other stations were there with them. I didn't know that, like, not now, which has age, but when I first learned about radio years ago, School Broadcasting, and they're like, "Oh, this building has this station, this day." I'm like, "Wait a minute, that's like the Yankees and Red Sox living in the same house. How dare they?" Like, no, they're not competing at all. Actually, sometimes. Then I started learning with the fake radio names back then. This guy Holden Johnson's actually Phil Magoo on this station, and Joey McGee over here. I'm like, "Oh, fuck you! These are the same guy just going around." That made me nuts knowing that stuff.
That's true, man.
My favorite one was when I was a kid, when I found out that Dr. Chris and Jose was not really a speaking puppet. I thought he was a real live puppet that could speak, but then I found out he was just doing a voice. Do you remember that morning show?
Absolutely, yeah.
And that was the same. That was Dr. Chris doing both voices, right?
I don't know.
Oh, I thought it was, which made me go, that guy's nuts. How did he do a whole morning show, just him, constantly having a conversation with himself?
Well, That's
insane.
Have you ever worked with a ventriloquist before, like Otto and George?
I have opened for Otto and George several times before they died.
So, and I know he's one of them, but he refers to his puppet as if he's a actual living thing.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when the puppet comes out, there is no breaking character, and he talks about the puppet as if the puppet is its own entity.
He had a car seat in the back for the puppet. George went in a car seat like a baby and sat back there and got strapped in. And one time he was in the car with another comic from Connecticut, and they were driving. And as they were they're having a regular conversation, but then once in a while, George would pipe in and go, "Hey, shut the fuck up," and yell stuff at the guy. In the comics, like, "Hey man, Otto, stop. We're just driving." You know what I mean? Stop. He's like, "I'm sorry. I'll tell George to be quiet." He's like, "Dude, just stop doing it." He's like, "Hey, you son of a bitch, you cocksucker!" He just kept yelling. And he's like, "Dude, if you don't shut that thing up, I'm gonna fucking grab it and throw it in the trunk." He's like, "See if you can try it, motherfucker." So he makes him stop the car. He takes the dummy. He throws it in the trunk. He shuts it. He sits down. 2 minutes in, he goes, "Let me out of here, you fuck! I can't breathe." Yeah, Otto was someone that he's one of the first. He's one of the first people that I'd ever heard of that I got to work with, because I had heard him on Howard Stern, and I saw him perform when I was in college at Side Street Grill in Hamden. And I was like, wait a minute, I heard this guy in Howard Stern. Why is he at the place where I get wings? But then I realized, oh yeah, comedy sucks. Like it's really hard. Yeah. But I remember seeing him, and then I got to work with him several times, to the point where at one point me and Otto were actually, through Twitter Messenger, we're going back and forth about, Otto loved country western movies, like old spaghetti westerns. And I really didn't, but my grandfather knew about them, so I had some knowledge, and he started talking to me about it. So I guess he thought that meant I loved them. So he would just message me all these facts about it, and I'd be like, yeah, I also love that fact. Hey, cowpoke. But it was really cool that Otto was messaging me, and then when he died, it sucked. You know, I mean, that was pretty devastating. It was like, because he was awesome. I loved what I did a show. The most racist thing I've ever been part of was at Comics when it was at Foxwoods. It was Martin Luther King Day weekend. It was Otto and George opening up for John Valby, and I was the host. And I'm like, so I did my act, and someone goes, "You didn't say the N-word." I'm like, yeah, I would never would. They're like, no, what the fuck? Why didn't you say the N-word? The other two did. I'm like, sorry, I let you down, sir. Sorry, Mr. David Duke. Didn't mean to let you down. But it was, yeah, that was crazy, that show.
What happened to Otto?
He stopped living.
No, I know. How
I don't remember. It was some kind of, I want to say heart, but I don't remember what it was. It was some kind of disease. It wasn't cancer, but it was some kind of, it was sudden, but it was something that, like, it wasn't like drugs or anything. I forget exactly what it was. I remember hearing about it. It was great. I knew his manager. I knew some other people. I used to book him at Jokers. I used to have him come down all the time. And I felt bad. One time only 8 people came, and they were all bikers. And this 8 bikers just watched this guy fucking work his puppet, never fucking trying to close his mouth once. I mean, it was I remember having him at Jokers one time when we had a full crowd, and right when the show started, a black woman was walking to the bathroom, and he just turned the puppet and went, "Hey, everyone, how are you? Guilty!" and just yelled "guilty" at the woman. And it's like the whole crowd's like, "What?" And he's like, "Sorry." The puppet goes, "You know she's guilty. Look at her." It's like, that's how he started the show. It's like, Jesus Christ. And afterwards he goes, "I hope everyone enjoyed themselves and had a good time, Pat." I'm like, how are you these two people? How is your mind being this way? He was so concerned about everyone having a good time and not being offended, but then yelling racist shit through a puppet. It's like, so it's amazing.
Speaking of dead comics, did you ever work with oh shit, I just drew a blank. He was on O&A all the time.
Patrice?
Patrice, thank you.
I met Patrice. I was helping manage, and I was the house comic at Foxwoods when he performed there, but I wasn't on the show. Like, I was there and I was a comic, but that weekend I wasn't hosting. I mean, there was a late night show I did time on, so technically we were on the show, but I wasn't, like, I didn't work with him. But that was the second to last weekend he ever worked was there at Comic before he passed away. And his mother would come to the casino. They had us bring in these giant he brought these giant pork chops in, and he had us go to the Chinese restaurant next door to the comedy club and have them cook it in the wok, because he liked double fried pork chops, and he drank it with his grape soda. And that was like one of the last meals he had before he fucking died. And he was amazing to watch on stage.
He was really great, man.
He mentioned my name, which was cool, because he knew I was one of the managers, and I was like, I wasn't security, I was managing, but like I'd have to stand in the room to make sure people were quiet. And people like to try to heckle him because he was so good at it that they almost wanted to test him, because they wanted Patrice to yell at them. And so we had a code there for all the comics. If you didn't want to be dealing with anyone talking, you would just order them a Pepsi, because we didn't have Pepsi, we had Coke. So if he said that, we knew that we heard the word Pepsi, we knew that's code for go shut this person up. And he said, "I won't need that at all." So I'm standing off the side, and this one like white guy is just like being a fucking racist dick and yelling all this stuff, and Patrice going back and forth. But then it wasn't funny anymore. It was just hurting the rhythm. And he stops. He goes, "All right, yo, you know what? Get that dude. Order him. Yo, Pat Oates, fuck that dude up, man. Yo, fuck him up." I had to walk over like, all right, sir. Can you please quiet this giant guy? I'm like, all I can remember was my name and tell him to shut the fuck up. So yeah, I got to meet him. I got to open for Greg Giraldo, which I put in my book and all that stuff. There were some people I got to meet before they died, which is pretty cool. But not for them, they're dead. But for me, it was cool.
I was never a big Greg Giraldo fan. I liked his roast work, but his stand up to me, it wasn't. I didn't identify.
He's one of the. When people ask me who are the ones that influenced me to even think about doing it, it's basically him. Like, he was the comic that I was like, I love the way he thinks and delivers. I didn't really go watch much comedy before I did it, but one of the few times I went, I saw him, and really the only person I ever opened for where I was kind of in awe, and then he tore me a new one. But whatever. But it was
right. Yeah, you told me. You told me about that. Yeah.
Yeah, but like that was one of the few guys that I was like, wow, when I met him. I always enjoyed his comedy, but like now when I listen to it, I like it. And I think actually now it would have been great to hear his take on Trump. His thoughts, his mind on that would have been amazing. So I think he's someone that if he didn't leave, his voice would be as strong as like Chappelle's and stuff like that with this kind of stuff going on.
So, sort of on the subject, what do you think about, and I didn't know that this comic was so into politics, only because I didn't really pay attention to his comedy. But Colin Quinn doing his
very much so, yeah.
I mean, what the name of the last thing was? America something.
Well, he did two of those. I mean, he's Colin Quinn's been. I mean, obviously was known from people from like being on the MTV stuff, the single all that bullet or that game show. Total, what was it called? The fuck was that game show? Adam Sandler would be on it, and there's a you know what I'm talking about. I forget the fucking name. Not Total Recall, something dumb. Anyway, he was known for like that, one Tough Crowd and all that stuff. But he was always someone that very smart guy, and I don't know him well, but I know people that know him. I don't know him, but
was it the Man Show?
No, the Man Show was that was like that show that started off with Kimmel and Corolla, and then they passed it on to Rogan and Stanhope. That's the guys who filled in for them, which is crazy if you think about where those two went. Like after that, like they were like doing that show because their careers weren't really doing much, and the next thing you know, Rogan is the most trustworthy name in podcasting. You know what I mean? It's like, and Stanhope is this genius, but No, Colin Quinn is really good friends with Seinfeld. So Seinfeld started producing his one-man shows and pushing him to do that because he's a very smart. Those breakdowns, when he does the thing about America, it's incredibly done, very smart. But it's also for someone who like me, I'm not huge on history. I learn a lot because he does. I mean, you got to take it for what it is. Some jokes are in there. It's very knowledgeable. It's very well done.
Yeah. It was surprising to me when I watched it. It was not the Colin Quinn that I expected, you know what I mean?
Right. I think a lot of comics when they first started, like when you see Bobcat Goldthwait now and he's not doing the voice, you're like, oh, they grew up. It's nice to see them grow up sometimes. Like Bob Saget is the most filthy man in the world, but he was raising your kids, so it's fun to watch all that stuff.
Yeah, and then you got Gallagher on the other hand, who is still doing the same old shtick that he's been doing since '73.
Well, for a while, he took a break and gave it to his brother, and his brother did it as Gallagher, too. And then they fought over the rights of being Gallagher, which is hilarious. It's like, no, I'm the Gallagher. I'm the Gallagher. Like it's Highlander. One has to kill the other and get his watermelon powers. It's fantastic. Ryan, where can they people follow you? Where can they hear you? Where can they see your show, the Attic Show, and all that stuff?
It's all on on Facebook, Ryan Roberts, PLR. I'm on the night show from 7 to midnight every night on the old radio, 99.1 PLR. So if you don't have a Google, an Alexa or Google, whatever it's home or whatever it is, I don't even know the Google name, you probably got rid of your radio years ago. But they say that the radio ratings are up, which I find surprising because not too many people are driving around in their cars. But, yeah, all in the social media, it's all Ryan Roberts here and there.
Well, you know why radio's up? Because all the old people are home, and they don't go on. They don't have an Alexa. They listen to the radio. all the old people that are trapped and are waving in their window to their grandchildren as they sing them happy birthday, Nana. They're like, they want to drown it out, so they fucking put on music they know. And that's who listens to PLR, 90-year-olds.
I think the 90-year-olds are listening to WICC. I think they're listening to AM radio.
That was your and my 90-year-olds when we were younger. Today's 90-year-old likes the music that PLR plays. Fox is the classic radio station. You guys are the oldies now.
Yeah, no, that's true. And the Whales even more so is like, which is fitting because they used to be Big D 103, which was the oldies station around here.
Right.
But they're doing older classic rock. Which I find it funny that the Fox is sort of had become more modern than PLR was, because it wasn't like that when I started 3 years ago.
When they hired me, they said they're basically calling it modern classic rock.
Yeah.
Like, who gives a fuck? They just changed the name. But Ryan, I thank you so much for being on, man. I really appreciate it. And I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for having me on, and let's hope for buffets in the future.
We're going together. We're fucking doing it. We're going to ruin the whole place. All right.